Is the live streaming? Yeah, it started. Yeah. Rita Mataji, if you're ready, you can start reciting 82.
Hare Krishna, Babaji.
Within
I was asked to read the translation. I'm not too good reading the Sanskrit up there.
Bengali.
Oh, Bengali.
Okay. Anyone would like to do the Bengali? Say if Mataji is doing English. Jai Mataji.
Try, Prabhuji. Yes, I can try. Obviously, I'm not practiced, but I can try.
No problem, Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Surya Chandra Hare Raiche Sabandhakara Vastu Prakashiya Kare Dharmera Prachara E Mata Dui Bhaya Jivera Gnana Tamo Nashakari Kaila Tattva Vastu Dana. Ritu Mataji?
As the sun and moon drive away darkness by their appearance and relieve the nature of everything, these two brothers dissipate the darkness of ignorance, covering the living beings and enlighten them with knowledge of the absolute truth.
अज्ञानतमेरा नाम कहिए कैतव धर्म अर्थ काम मोक्ष वांछा आदि सब.
The darkness of ignorance is called Kaitava, the way of cheating, which begins with religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation.
Dharma prajihata kaitavotara paramo nirmata saranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shiva dama tapatrayonulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Parerishwaraha Sadyo Hridaya Avarodhyate Atra Kritibhiha Shushru Shubhiha Tat Kshanat.
The great scripture Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled by Mahamuni Vyasadeva from 4 original verses, describe the most elevated and kind-hearted devotees and completely rejects the cheating ways of materially motivated religiosity. It propounds the highest principle of eternal religion, which can factually mitigate the threefold miseries of a living being and award the highest benediction of full prosperity and knowledge. Those willing to hear the message of this scripture in a submissive attitude of service can at once capture the Supreme Lord in their hearts. Therefore, there is no need for any scriptures other than Srimad Bhagavatam.
Para madhye moksha vancha kaitava pradhana yaha haite Krishna bhakti hayo antardana.
The foremost process of cheating is to desire to achieve liberation by merging into the Supreme, for this causes the permanent disappearance of loving service to Krishna.
Prashabdena moksha bhishandhira api nirasta iti.
The prefix pra in the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam indicates that the desire for liberation is completely rejected.
Krishna bhaktiro badhako yata shubha shubha karma seho eka jivero agnana tamo dharmo.
All kind of activities, both auspicious and inauspicious, that are detrimental to the discharge of transcendental loving service to Lord Sri Krishna are actions of the darkness of ignorance.
Yanhara prasade tamohaya nasha tamo nasha kari kare tatveraj prakasha.
Translation, Prabhuji. Rita Mataji, you're on mute in case if you're speaking.
Anyone else? If Prabhuji or Mataji is not available.
We can read Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, this darkness of ignorance is removed and brought to light. Sorry.
Tattva vastu Krishna Krishna bhakti prema rupa nama sankirtana sabha ananda swarupa.
The absolute truth is Sri Krishna, and loving devotion to Sri Krishna exhibited in pure love is achieved through congregational chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all bliss.
Surya Chandra Bahirera Tamase Vinashe Bahir Vastu Ghata Patta Adi Se Prakashe.
The sun and moon dissipate the darkness of the external world and thus reveal external material objects like pots and plates.
Dui bhai hridaye rakshali andhakara Dui bhagavat sange karana sakshatkara.
But these two brothers, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, dissipate the darkness of the inner core of the heart, and thus they help one meet the two kinds of Bhagavatas, persons or things in relationship with the personality of Godhead.
एक भागवत बड़ा भागवत शास्त्र आर भागवत भक्त भक्ति रस पात्र.
One of the Bhagavatas is the great scripture Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other is the pure devotee absorbed in the mellows of loving devotion.
दुई भागवत द्वारा दिया भक्ति रस तन्हार हृदय तन्र प्रेम है वाश.
Rita Mataji, would you like to continue? Rita Mataji, would you like to continue reading translation, please? Okay, so still some issues. Prabhavati Satyamataji, please continue.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Through the actions of these two Bhagavatas, the Lord instills the mellows of transcendental loving service into the heart of a living being, and thus the Lord in the heart of his devotees come under the control of the devotee's love.
एक अद्भुत समकाले दोन्हारो प्रकाशो आरा अद्भुत चित्त गुहारा तम करे नाश.
The first wonder is that both brothers appear simultaneously, and the other is that they illuminate the innermost depth of the heart.
ए चंद्र सूर्य दुई परम सदाय जग तेरा भाग्य गोडे करिला उदय.
These two, the sun and moon, are very kind to the people of the world. Thus, for the good fortune of all, they have appeared on the horizon of Bengal.
ते दुई प्रभुर करी चरण वंदना यान्हा हाइते विघ्ननाश अभीष्ट पुराण.
Let us therefore worship the holy feet of these two lords. Thus, one can be rid of all difficulties on the path of self realization.
ए दुई श्लोके कैला मंगल वंदना तृतीया श्लोकेरो अर्थो शून सर्वजनो.
I have invoked the benediction of the Lords with these two verses, text 1 and 2 of this chapter. Now, please hear attentively the purport of the third verse.
वक्तव्य बाहुल्य ग्रंथ विस्तारे न वर्णी सारर्थ काही अल्पक्षरे.
I purposely avoid extensive description for fear of increasing the bulk of this book. I shall describe the essence as concisely as possible.
मितं च सारं च वाचो हि वाग्मिता इति.
Essential truth spoken concisely is true eloquence.
सुनीले खंडिबे चित्तेरो अज्ञानादिदोष कृष्णे गाध प्रेम हाबे पाइबे संतोष.
Simply hearing submissively. Sorry, Prabhuji. Simply hearing submissively will free one's heart from all the faults of ignorance, and thus one will achieve deep love for Krishna. This is the path of peace.
श्री चैतन्य नित्यानंद द्वैत महातत्व तानर भक्ता भक्ति नाम प्रेम रस तत्व भिन्न भिन्न लिखियाची करिया विचार सुनिले जानिबे सब वास्तु तत्व सार.
If one patiently hears about the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Advaita Prabhu, and their devotees, devotional activities, names, and fame, along with the mellows of their transcendental loving exchanges, one will learn the essence of the absolute truth. Therefore, I have described these in the Chaitanya Charitamrita with logic and discrimination.
श्री रूप रघुनाथ पदेयार आश चैतन्य चरितामृत काहे कृष्ण दास.
Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I I, Krishna Dasa, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. I don't know
Very
the
nicely
Bengali.
recited, Mataji. Very, very nice. And yeah, even translation. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
We need crash course from Ram Lala Das Prabhuji.
Yeah.
No, Hare Krishna, it was actually it was very you add a very good melody. Actually, it's very amazing. Actually,
Yeah.
even also Sita Sundar Mataji also mentioned. It's really amazing.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, we will move to the Japa session now. Chanting with Srila Prabhupada. May I ask any volunteer to do Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, please?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare
I'm really sorry. We had some problem in the connection. We were trying to solve. We tried from my husband's phone. I'm so sorry. We can do it.
No problem.
If you
Thank you.
permit.
Yeah. Feel free to 3 times Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, and then we'll do Japa for the next 10 minutes.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shirvasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shirvasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shirvasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
Krishna 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 Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Ram Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram Ram, Ram Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram Ram
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare
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 Ram,
Krishna
Ram Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Hare
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 Hare,
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare
Hare Ram
Krishna,
Hare 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 Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
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 Hare Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna
Hare 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 Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare Hare Hare
Hare Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare Hare
Hare Ram
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Ram Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
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 Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare
Ram,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare Hare
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare Ram Ram
Hare
Ram Hare Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
This, if anyone has not completed, feel free to complete by meeting it. So we're gonna jump on to the next one. It's Kirtan time. So I would like to ask one of the volunteer to take this opportunity, and we have 10 minutes for Kirtan. So yeah, I would like to ask one of the devotees to come forward to do the Kirtan for us. Anyone would like to take this opportunity? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Ramnala Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Yes, I
Krishna
am
Prabhuji.
here also. Please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I like to do one kirtan today. Tabo Kathamrito. Tabo Kathamrito Tapto Kanchana.
Mataji. Would you like me to get the lyrics on?
Yes, please. Will someone follow me?
Yes.
Gorangi Mataji, please.
I will follow you.
Okay,
Mataji.
no problem. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for giving an opportunity.
Moga Prabhuji, do you have a link for that, please? Yeah, let me share.
Yes, Prabhuji, sir, just dropping in the link in that.
Okay, yeah.
Please.
Yes, Mataji, whenever you're ready.
Yes. It's okay. Hare Krishna. So, who is following me? Jai Ved Mataji?
Lalita Mataji.
Lalita Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. It's first time for me also. Please forgive me. I will try this one. Okay.
This is very important as to behind this thing, because to hear this Gopi is intense love to Krishna. Is very, very high beneficial for in the sun. It's very important to purify our soul. Yes, Hare Krishna. Please forward.
Hare Krishna. Tabo kathamritam tapto jivanam Kobi bhiridam kalmoshapaham
हरे कृष्ण। तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीदितं कर्मसपहम्
श्रवण मंगल श्रीमदततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति जे भूरिदा जना।
श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदातमम्
भुवि गृह्णन्ति टुगेदर माताजी नो प्रॉब्लम।
ओके भुवि गृह्णाति ये
जे
भूरिदा
भूरिदा जना
जनाः
जयति तेऽधिकम् जन्मना व्रज
जन्मव्रजाहम्
2 lines
ओके
जयति तेऽधिकम्
जयति देदेकम्
जन्मना व्रज
जन्मनव्रजाः
श्रयतो इन्दिरा
सत्यैर्धीरा
ससदत्र हि द्वैतदृश्यताम्
दयितदृश्यत्यम्
दिक्षुतावका
दीक्षुतासवकाशास्
त्वयि धृतावस्थाम् तं विचिन्यते शारदोदाशये sorry Mataji, I will do 2 lines, then we can do together 2 lines like that.
Okay, Mataji. Yeah. Understood, Mataji. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. শারদোদাশয়ে সাধু জাত সরসিজদর শ্রীমুষাদৃশা। Now you, Mataji.
शरद उदयासे सदुजता सत सरसिजोदरा दृशा
দিশা সুরথনাথ তে শুল্ক দাসিকা বরদ নৃশংস নেক্ষসী কদা
सुरतनाताते शुल्कदशासिकाम् वरददानिकन्तो नेह किं वदाः
নখলু গোপিকা নন্দন ভবান অখিল দেহি নাম অন্তরা
Mataji, fourth la.
Yes, sorry. বিশ্বজলাপয়া বালরাক্ষসা বর্ষ মারুতা বৈদ্যুতানা
विषजताप्याद् व्यालराक्षससाद् वर्षमरुताद् वैद्युतन्तालात्
বিষময়াত্মজা বিশদ ভয়া ঋষভেতে বয়ম রক্ষিতা মুহু
वृषमयात्मजाद् विश्वतो भयाद् रस र ऋष सॉरी माताजी राशबा
ঋষভতে
ऋषभते
বয়ম
वयं राक्षसी
রক্ষিতা
सीता
মুহু
मुहुः
নখলু গোপিকা নন্দন ভবান অখিল দেহি নাম অন্তরাত্মদ্রিক
नकुला गोपिका नन्दनो भवान् अखिलदेहिनाम् अन्तरात्मदृक्
বিখন সার্থিত বিশ্বগুপ্তয়ে সখ উদীয়বান সাত্মতাম কুলে
विकनसार्तितो
বিশ্বগুপ্তয়ে
विश्वगुप्तये
সখ উদীয়বান সাত্মতাম কুলে
विकनसार्तितो विश्वगुप्तये सकवुदीयवान् सात्वतां कुले
তব কথামৃতম তপ্ত জীবন কবিভিরিতম কলমশাপহম
तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनम् कविभिर्बिरिदितं कमलसापहम्
শ্রবণ মঙ্গলম শ্রীমদততম ভুবি গৃণন্তি যে ভূরিতা জনা
श्रवणमङ्गलं
শ্রবণমঙ্গলম
श्रीमदततं
শ্রীমদততম
भुवि
গৃণন্তি যে
भूरि
ভূরিদা জনা
श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदततं भुवि गृह्णान्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः
হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम राम
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, Lalita Mataji.
Very
Hare
beautiful,
Krishna.
Mataji, Lalita Mataji, and both of you. Very, very beautiful, Mataji.
Thank you all devotees. Thank you. Sorry, apologize if I have made mistakes. Any mistakes,
No.
please.
Mataji, even me, it's first time. It's very nice song, but
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's very difficult.
Yes.
Bhajan.
Very first time you did very, very good, Mataji, Lalita Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
And
Hare Krishna.
yeah, we'll go to the next one, Guru Vandana. So can I request Sakshi Mataji to lead and Neeraj Prabhuji to follow? Is that
Yes, Prabhuji.
And then Mangala Charan, can I ask Jagannath Prabhuji says only listening? Okay. Gaurangi Mataji, are you okay to lead Mangala Charan and we all follow?
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. And then we do have Prindvani prayers. Can I ask Lalita Mataji to lead? So we all say Jai to follow.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Thank you. And then quick invocation before our session. Maybe can I ask Debashish Prabhuji to do the invocation?
Yes, Prabhu. Haribol.
Thank you so much, Haribol. So, and then Narsinga prayers. Can I ask Ram Lala Prabhuji to lead and who's left? Gaurangi Mataji to follow?
Yeah, can follow Prabhuji.
Yeah. Sorry?
Everyone can follow.
Everyone, okay. Ramlala Prabhuji leads the prayers and we all will follow Narsinga prayers.
Yeah. And also Guru Vandana, also everyone can follow.
Okay, Guru Vandana as well, we all will follow for Guru Vandana. Okay. Let me bring that. Guru Vandana, here we go. Yeah. Mataji, whenever you're ready.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma.
Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma.
Bando mui savdhana mate.
Bando mui savdhana mate.
Jahara prasade bhai e bhavatoriya jai.
भावो तोरिया
कृष्ण प्राप्ति होय जहाँ होते
Krishna
Krishna
प्राप्त
Prabhu
हो ही जाए
गुरु मुख पद्म वाक्या चित ते कोरिया क्या
Guru
क्या
हर ना कोरी हो माने आशा
ही हो मानी आशा
श्री गुरु चरणे रति ऐसे उत्तमा गति
श्री
श्री
गुरु
गुरु चरण
निरति
ऐसे
उत्तम
गति
जय प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा
जय प्रसाद
सर्वाशा
चकुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
दिव्य ज्ञान
हृदय
प्रकाशितो
Divya
प्रकाशितो
प्रेमा भक्ति जहाँ होए ते अविद्या के नाशे जाते
प्रेमा भक्ति होते
होते अविद्या वेशा जाते
वेदे गाय जहाँ राचरितो
वेदी गाय जहाँ चरितो
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अथमा जनारा बंधु
श्री गुरु
करुण सिंधु जन बंधु
लोकेनाथ लोके राजीवाना
लोकनाथ
आहा प्रभु कोरो दोया देहो मोरे पाद छाया
प्रभु
पड़ा छाया
ए बेजसा गुशक त्रिभवना
त्रिभुवना
जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद
जय
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 जय प्रभुपाद जय जय
जय
प्रभुपाद जय जय
जय जय
प्रभुपाद
प्रभुपाद
जय जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव
जय जय गुरुदेव
जय गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव
शिला प्रभुपाद की
जय
Very nicely done, Mataji. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very nice. Hari Bol.
हरि बोल
हरि बोल हरि बोल
Now we're gonna move to Mangalacharan.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Okay, shall I start, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji. I'm gonna bring Mangalacharan.
Okay.
Up to Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri-gurave namaha.
Om
Ajnanatimirandasya
Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri-gurave namaha.
Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Datati Sopadantikam.
Sri Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Manovistam
Manobishtam
Stapitam Yena Bhutale
Stapitam Yena
Swayam Rupa
Bhutale
Kadamayam
Ayam Rupa
Davati
Kadamayam
Swadantikam.
Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaissamamsa Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathitam Tam Sajivam.
Vandeham Sri Guru
Vandeham Sri Guru Padakamalam
Padakamalam
Sri Guru
Vaishnavamsha
Vaishnavamsa Sri
Vaishnavamsa
Rupam
Sagrajatam
Sagrajatam
Srirupam
Raghunatham
Sagrajatam
Tam
Sahagana
Natanavitam
Raghunatam
Sajivam.
Tam
Jivam
Sajivam
Tam Sajivam.
Savdvaitam Savdhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padana Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakha Mustamsa
Advaitam
Sadvaitam
Savadhutam Parijana
Savadhutam
Sahitam Krishna
Parijana
Chaitanya
Sahitam
Devam
Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Sahitam
Radha
Krishna
Krishna
Devam
Chaitanya
Padana
Devam Sri
Sahagana
Radha
Lalita
Krishna
Sri
Pada Padna
Sagana
Sahagana Lalita
Lalita
Sri
Sri
Vaishna
Vishakavitam
Sri Vishaka
He
Vitam
Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute.
He Krishna Karuna
Krishna
Sindhu
Karunamando
Dinabandhu
Dinabando
Jagapati
Jagatpate
Gopesha Gopika Kanta
Gopika Kanta
Namostute.
Namostate.
Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye.
Tapta Kanchana
Kanchana Gaurangi
Radhe
Radhe
Vrindavaneshwari
Vrindavaneshwari
Vrishabhanusuti
Vishvanusuti
Devi
Pranamami
Pranamami
Hari
Hare
Priye.
Priye.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Vancha kalpatarubhya
Jakalpatarubhya
kripa
Kripa
sindhubhya
Sindhubhya
Patitanam pavanabhya Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Sri
Jai
Krishna
Shri Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
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 Nityananda Sri
Nityananda
Advaita
Nityananda
Shri
Gadadhara Sri
Advaita
Vasadi Gaura
Gadadhara
Bhakta
Sadi
Vrinda.
Sadi Gauri Vrinda.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Naiti Namine.
Namo
Namo
Vishnupadaya
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 Krishna
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 Prestaya
Prestaya
Prishnaye
Bhutale
Bhutale
Srimati
Srimati Srimati
Vedanta
Bhaktisiddhanta
Swamine
Swamine
Tinamine.
Namah.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Desatarine.
Namaste
Namaste
Saraswati
Saraswati Devi
Devi
Gauravani
Gauravani
Vani
Pracharine
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 Nirvishesha
Nirvishesha
Shunyavadi
Shunyavadi
Adi
Padeshatarine.
Deshatarine.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare.
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama
Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama
Rama,
Rama.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Very beautifully done.
Hare Krishna Mata, very, very beautiful.
Srila
Thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So we're gonna go to Prem Dhvani prayers. So Lalita Mataji, I'm gonna bring Prem Dhvani. So whenever you're ready, Mataji. So you can do up to key. We're gonna say Jai. Lalita Mataji, whenever you're ready.
I'm also first time reading Prabhuji, so
No problem, Mataji. It's okay.
Hare Krishna. Jaya Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa. I will split Prabhuji, so I can't read completely, so I'll do.
No problem, Mataji. Maybe I can lead this time. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can read.
Yeah, everyone can say Jai. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotara Shatasri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaja Prabhupada Ki
Jaya Om Vishnu Pada
Jai Om
Paramahamsa
Vishnupada
Jai, Jai.
Paramhamsa
Jai.
Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotara Shatasri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki
Jai.
रामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की
Jai.
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की नवद्वीपा मायापुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई की यमुना माई की तुलसी देवी की भक्ति देवी की कामवेद भक्त वृंद की गौर प्रेमानंद all glories to assembled devotees
Hare Krishna.
all glories to assembled devotees
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
all glories to assembled devotees
Hare
Krishna.
all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga
Hare Hare Bol.
Hari Bol, Pawan
Hari
Prabhu.
Bol.
Very
Hare
nice.
Bol, Prabhuji. You nicely explained, Prabhuji.
no problem
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
and so we'll go to the next session. We have a guest speaker, and then before that, the Debashis Prabhuji will do the prayers, and then Amoga Prabhuji, do we have the guest? Yeah, Kesav Prabhuji is here. So Debashis Prabhuji, you can do the invocation, and then so Prabhuji will take over the session.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, so Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Over to you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Well, happy Christmas to you all. Sounds strange, doesn't it, coming into Vaishnava Sangha and saying happy Christmas? But it is Christmas. And it is a time when we should all be joining together around the world and acknowledging who our creator is, whether it's Christmas or Diwali or Janmashtami or Gaurapanima. Something is going on that we can relate to. Thank you for inviting me back today. Really nice to see you all again. I guess this is quite a special time for me. Christmas time. I don't know if I've ever told you this. I might have done, but once upon a time, before coming to Krishna consciousness, I was a Roman Catholic ordained minister with the Church of Rome, and was stationed for some time as a Benedictine monk in an abbey called Ampleforth up in Yorkshire, and then at Westminster Cathedral. Then 13 years ago, I came to Krishna consciousness. So Christmas has always carried a very deep spiritual significance for me, if you like. And Srila Prabhupada's words in this respect were very encouraging when I made that transition. Also, Srila Bhaktivinod's words were also very encouraging. He said some wonderful things about other faiths. But there was once a conversation with Srila Prabhupada and a man called Allen Ginsberg back in the 70s. And Allen Ginsberg said to Srila Prabhupada, what if a man believes in Jesus Christ or in Allah? And Prabhupada said to him, well, so long as he has a name for whoever he's worshipping, then that is all right. We like that very much. If you have a name for God, you should chant it. You should call it out from the bottom of your heart. In 1971, August 23rd in London, Srila Prabhupada made a comment when he was giving a lecture on the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6, and he said Jesus Christ was a pure devotee of God. There is no doubt about it. And what did Jesus Christ do? He served. That's what he did. We may have some misinformation and we may have some doubt about other faiths, but we're all ultimately part of Krishna's creation, whether we like it or not. And that's something we should all try and remember, especially when all these nasty events are happening around the world. Because what happens to one group of people will surely affect another group of people in time. Srila Prabhupada also said in Melbourne on the 22nd of May, 1975, in a room conversation, Christians should follow the instruction of Lord Jesus Christ because he taught love of God. In San Francisco on the 1st of March 1967, he said the principle of religion is the same everywhere. Obedience and service to God. And that's one of the very cruxes, of course, of our movement, isn't it? And when you think about what Prabhupada did, he brought together people from so many different backgrounds, so many different parts of the world and so many different faiths, and he brought them all together. And we say quite often, don't we, that Srila Prabhupada built a house for the whole universe to live in, for the whole world to live in. Well, never was those words so true than they are today, because of where we are in the world today. So I'd just like to say this Christmas, thank you to Srila Prabhupada, thank you to the devotees, and thank you to all of Prabhupada's disciples for giving us today what we have. It feels like a big Christmas present for me. I don't know if that made any sense to you, but it does to me. Anyway, what I find meaningful, I guess, what I'm trying to say, is how Srila Prabhupada taught us to properly understand and honor this season, even of Christmas. And he repeatedly taught us that love of God through sacrifice, humility, and complete obedience to the will of the Lord is what Krishna wants, no matter where you're practicing or what situation you find yourself taking birth in. It's just how it is. Srila Prabhupada showed us how to see God, not sentimentally, but philosophically and devotionally. And Srila Prabhupada also reminded us that the real purpose of a time like Christmas or Janmashtami is not external celebration, but reviving our forgotten relationship with God and learning how to live a life of genuine surrender and service. In that sense, Christmas and Krishna consciousness are not separate. The essence is the same. We're supposed to be developing pure love of God through serving one another, which is why people give each other presents and help each other at Christmas and all gather together. It's a time of celebration and association, and yes, there's partying and all sorts of things that shouldn't go on that do go on, but they do. But the ultimate aim was to revive our forgotten relationship with God. Developing pure love of God. So today, I guess, we can honor Srila Prabhupada's vision by deepening our chanting of the holy names, studying his books with sincerity, and trying to live as instruments of Krishna's mercy, just as the great devotees in the past have done throughout history, according to time, place, and circumstance. So I'll begin with a short invocation before we get into today's verses, because they do cover something about the chanting of the holy names as well, which I thought was quite important. So I'll just begin with a short prayer, if I may. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Nomine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskchatta Deshitarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pungam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, what I'd like to do, I guess, let's have a look at the verses, shall we, to begin with. I'm going to put these verses on the screen, and if I could then invite anybody who wants to read the Bengali and the translation, so please feel free to do so. These are the verses that we're covering today, 1.92 to 1.99. Anybody want to have a go at chanting a little? Anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, maybe I can try. I learned this from Jai Mataji.
Please carry on. The more people that join in and do stuff like this, the better. It makes it interesting.
Yeah. Dhara madhye mukse vancha kaitava pradhana yaha haite Krishna bhakti haya antardana. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Please read the translation.
The foremost process of cheating is to desire to achieve liberation by merging into the Supreme. For this causes the permanent disappearance of loving service to Krishna.
Do you want to carry on with the next one?
Rasabdena moksa bisandirapi nirsthaiti. Translation: the prefix ra in the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam indicates that the desire for liberation is completely rejected.
Good. Anybody else want to have a go at the next couple of verses? Come on, everybody's going shy. What's going on? It's only Christmas time. Huh?
Sakshi Mataji, Jai Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I
Hare
would
Krishna,
try,
please.
Prabhuji.
Please.
Thank you. Krishna Bhakti Rabadaka Yata Subha Shubha Karma Seha Eka Jivara Ajnana Tamu Dharma. Translation: all kinds of activities, both auspicious and inauspicious, that are detrimental to the discharge of transcendental loving service to Lord Sri Krishna are actions of the darkness of ignorance.
Try the next one, Mataji, please.
Yahare prasade tamo hayanasa tamo nasakari kare tatware prakasha. Translation: by the grace of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, this darkness of ignorance is removed and the truth is brought to light. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna, thank you. We have 3 verses left. Who'd like to do the final 3 verses, please? Somebody else. Please carry on.
Shall I go?
Please, whoever wants to go, carry on.
Tattvavastu Krishna, Krishna Bhakti Prema Rupa, Nama Sankirtana, Sava Anand Swarupa. Translation: the absolute truth is Sri Krishna, and loving devotion to Sri Krishna exhibited in pure love is achieved through congregational chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all bliss. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Carry on with the next two verses, Mataji.
Surya Chandra Bahirera Tamhase Vinase Bahirvastu Gatapata Adise Prakase. The sun and moon, despite the darkness of external world, and thus reveal external material objects like parts and plates.
Carry on, Mataji.
Duibayi Hrudaye Era Kshali Anandakara Dui Bhagavata Sange Karna Sakshatkara.
It's a little difficult, that. Karana Sakshatkara.
Karana Sakshatkara.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. But these two brothers, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, dissipate the darkness of the inner core of the heart, and thus they tell one meet the two kinds of Bhagavatas, persons or things in relationship with the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Sri Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Apologies, sorry.
That's all right. No, you all did very well. Thank you. And this last verse is Eka
Bhagavata Bada Bhagavata Sastra Artha Bhagavata Bhakta Bhakti Rasa Patra.
That's it.
One of the Bhagavatas is the great scripture Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other is pure devotee absorbed in the mellows of loving devotion.
Thank you very, very, very much, everybody, for reading
you,
the verses
Prabhuji.
very nicely. They're quite difficult. So these verses in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi-lila 1.92 to 99, I like to call these verses, or this section, if you like, the radical heart of bhakti in a way, because that's what they are. I don't find them to be outside verses. They're actually programmatic. They help to make us tune into a certain way of thinking. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in these 10 verses, in less than 10 verses actually, he defines for us what must be rejected, what must be embraced, and why Lord Chaitanya appeared. And moreover, these verses come from a little bit of a bigger section in this first chapter of the Adi-lila. They form a section from 84 to 104, which basically give an explanation of verse 1.2 from the Adi-lila, which explains Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda as Krishna and Balaram. But that's another conversation to have. It's a longer conversation. We'll focus on just the core principles in these verses for today. So where are we, I guess, just to recap, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita? We're at Adi-lila, chapter 1, and we are in the part of the Adi-lila where we are establishing Sambandha Tattva, or knowledge of one's true relationship with Krishna. And these verses particularly look at, if you like, defining the difference between true religion, or true religious practice, and cheating religion. And before discussing any kind of lila, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami clears a lot of philosophical ground. If you like, this section is parallel to chapter to Canto 1 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1, verse 2, where there's a verse that goes, Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapo trayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavatam Mahamuni Krite kimva parerishvaraha sadyo hrutyaya varutya traitu kritibi shushrushabhistakshanat. We'll come back to the translation of that in a little while. But it's basically describing not just the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam, but all sorts of other things there. But basically, it tells us that anything that obstructs pure bhakti, anything that obstructs devotional service is rejected, even liberation. Because actually, we're not seeking liberation, on this level. We're seeking something far, far greater, which is unparalleled, unmotivated devotional service to the Lord constantly. We're not looking to get liberated and merge into the impersonal Brahman, which is what these verses are telling us, of course, not to do. So this first verse, let's just have a look at that again. Tara madhye moksha vancha kaitava pradhana yaha hoite Krishna bhakti haya antardhana. The foremost principle of cheating is to desire to achieve liberation by merging into the Supreme, for this causes the permanent disappearance of loving service to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada says on that, he writes a very short purport at the bottom there, the desire to merge into the impersonal Brahman is the subtlest type of atheism. What does atheism mean? To not believe in God, essentially, doesn't it? As soon as such atheism, disguised in the dress of liberation, is encouraged, one becomes completely unable to traverse the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's interesting what Prabhupada says that as soon as such atheism, and he's very clear about the word he uses, atheism, disguised in the dress of liberation, disguised in, as freedom from everything, from this cycle of birth and death. Well, it's not. Once we encourage that kind of lazy liberation, we become completely unable to traverse or go back to the path or travel on the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Because we become too comfortable in our situation of sheltering in this golden glow of the impersonal Brahman. Because we're sleeping. We're not doing anything. We're not active. We're not performing any kind of service. And what do we constantly want to do as spirit souls? It's a question. What do we constantly want to do? What do you want to do every day? You don't do anything? We sit at home in the fireplace surrounded by the impersonal Brahman of the radiator? No? We have a desire to do things. Prabhu, Pavan Prabhu, you have your unmute going on.
I think try to be happy, Prabhu, all the time.
We're trying to be happy, yeah? But what do we do when we want to become happy? What do we have to do? We have to do something, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
We can't just sit in a ball, can't sit in the sofa like this with our blanket and hot water bottle and think, oh, we're going to become happy, can we? So how can you become happy like that if you're merged into the impersonal Brahman? You can't, can you?
Actually, there is something from Bhagavad Gita as well. So we have to set the higher taste. So if you set the higher taste as a Harinama, so nothing around us will give us happiness. So if we do Harinam and if we set that as higher taste, and then we even forget, like, for example, if we like, say, anything, any sweets or something like that, and then if we get another sweet, we might forget that sweet, and we can say, like, I'll take some names, say gulab jamun. So you, as a child, you like gulab jamun, and then you think that's the best sweet. And then next day, you find rasgulla, and you feel like rasgullas are sweeter than gulab jamun, and you forget the gulab jamun. And similarly, if you find the higher taste is Krishna, Harinam. And if you every day work towards that, like use everything, like all senses towards, like hear Krishna, talk Krishna, smell the flowers of lotus from the lotus feet of Krishna, and watch like Krishna Leelas, and then walk, use your like legs to go to Tirtha Yatras or go to temple. Like if you once you start using all your senses towards Krishna, that's when you realize what we need exactly. That's Krishna's bhakti. So slowly, yeah, that's what I think, Prabhuji.
It's a very valid point, and yes, it's very true that, you know, if we seek the higher taste, then slowly over time, you know, all those other material desires that we have around us, they will slowly dissipate. But the problem is we live in the material world, and these bodies are material, and these senses also require satisfying. And unless we are sitting in a cave in the Himalayas, right, even as a sannyasi within ISKCON, you are not going to develop the higher taste for chanting. Sorry if that's a controversial statement, but it's the truth. How many people in this world are at that level since Prabhupada is gone? Can you name one? I can't. I think there are many people who have got very, very elevated standard, but nobody has reached Prabhupada's standard. He brought us that purity and he gave us that example. And we are trying to replicate, copy like children. But in order to do that copying and trying to get to where he got to, there's a process, isn't there? And sometimes during that process of chanting and prasadam and kirtan and going to the temple, things get in the way, don't they? Work, family, cooking, cleaning. Somebody gets married, somebody dies. And you are from Indian backgrounds, I think most of you, as am I. And that's a big responsibility that comes with a situation like that, doesn't it? Because so many things are happening around the side and time is getting carried away and we still have to work, we still have to look after the kids, and we're still going to lose our temper. We're still going to have, you know, a little bit of words with people here and there. Good words and maybe not so nice words, because everybody's stressed around all these situations that are going on. And while it's very credible, yes, that we should, and I agree with you, this is what we should be aiming for, Pavan Prabhu, it's very difficult to actually achieve that in today's world.
Yeah, there is one thing, Prabhuji. It can be achieved if we, as I forgot the slok actually, recently we came across that Bhagavad Gita slok where once if we stop having the desire, you know, in mind, I need this, I need that. So if you don't have that, if you can control the desire, so we don't, that desire, you know, gives, it's like a seed for a lust. And then lust, if you don't get that, and you get angry.
Yeah.
And when you get angry, you lose your consciousness. When you lose your consciousness, that's when, you know, we fall. So everything started in the mind and the desire. So once we can control the desire, as I said earlier, so slowly forget about the lower taste. If we have the higher taste, obviously we no longer wanted the lower taste. Higher taste is Krishna. So that's when we don't think for more desires.
I fully agree with you. That is the way forward. I'm nearly 60 years old. I will be in less than a year's time. And I have found it very difficult to get rid of my desires. Bottom line. Yeah. Try as I might, I cannot. There are things I want to do and I will do. One of those desires was sort of happened yesterday, wasn't it, Adi-lila Prabhu? I was so enthusiastic about the class, I had it all ready and prepared, and I was trying to log on yesterday at 5 to 8, believing it to be Saturday. And then when I realized, I thought, oh my goodness, I've got a whole evening in front of me, what am I going to do? And then my father said, oh, should we go to your mummy's house, your mama and mummy's house, because they're having a Christmas celebration. And I thought, oh, that would be nice. But then I thought, you know what, I won't today. I'm going to sit indoors and I'm going to do some chanting. Because that would have led to overeating yesterday. And I haven't been very well for the last couple of weeks. And that overeating would have then made me feel a little bit slowed down and slovenly today. And I've already, since coming back from India a few weeks ago, I've started to put on a lot of weight. And I need to start thinking about those things. But yes, I fully take on board what you're saying. It's very, very difficult to do, right? We just recently lost my mother, so now I'm having to look after my dad and my brother and myself, shopping, cooking, cleaning, right? And then working. And I'm just thinking, how did my mum actually do it? All of this cleaning and cooking and shopping and things that I wasn't doing before, now I'm doing. And realizations come to mind. Yes. But the message, of course, is here, and you're right, we have to develop that higher taste. But things are always going to get in the way. But what we don't want to do, and the point of this conversation was actually what we don't want to do, is to end up becoming too comfortable thinking, oh, I don't have to do this and I don't have to do that. We have to work, we have to put food on the table, we have to pay the bills, we have to keep a roof over our head. And though all those disturbances from the outside world are going to come and disturb us. And in a way, it's good because then we don't get too comfortable, in a ball of, oh, I'm, such a pure devotee and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But actually, we are understanding how to deal with the disturbances of the real world because they make us stronger. They do make us stronger, and they give us a living experience through which we can experience how a life of sadhana and sangha and prasadam, and devotion to the holy name can actually sit very comfortably side by side. But the point is, we are always active. We have to do something. And this verse here is telling us that the foremost process of cheating is to desire to achieve liberation, freedom from this cycle of birth and death by merging into this warm glow of light, the impersonal Brahman, so that we can become nice and warm. We don't need the radiator anymore. We can sit there like this, as if we have that shawl around us with the Christmas pudding and custard in front of us, and be very comfortable. But we'll be bored. Ultimately, we will do what happens when we become stagnant in this life. We become frustrated. And when we become frustrated, merging into the impersonal Brahmajyoti, we're bound to fall back down again at some point. Because we haven't experienced devotion, we haven't experienced love. What we've experienced is freedom from the, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I just want to be comfortable. So even then, Krishna is giving you something if you want to experience that kind of thing, because he makes it possible. I didn't understand Krishna as a kid, so I became a Christian. I went to a Catholic school, I became a monk. But as I got older, he came to me. I discovered who he really was. Lots of things changed. But to move on, what are we learning here? Yeah. Prabhupada is telling us that this wanting, this desire, if anybody has it, to merge into the impersonal Brahman is the most dangerous kind of cheating. Moksha vancha kaitava pradhana. From this desire, Krishna bhakti disappears because we become comfortable. Moksha vancha, of course, means the desire to merge into the Brahman. And Prabhupada tells us it's not crude atheism, it's a subtle kind of atheism, because we don't believe in the form of God that we can serve. Yet we serve each other down here. Now, how ridiculous a statement is that? To say that God has no form, for example. How ridiculous a statement is that? We all have a form here. We are all able to experience something in this form. And it's ridiculous to say that Krishna can't experience what we're experiencing, that we're experiencing something outside of his experience. So he must have a form in order to be able to experience the way we do. When he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came in the mood of Radharani, didn't he? To experience that love that she had for him. That's a very personal thing. So Srila Prabhupada, in respect of this view of impersonalism repeatedly says they want to kill God. They want to make him shunya, or zero. In August, 10th of August 1972, on a lecture on the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6, Srila Prabhupada says the Mayavadi philosopher says ultimately God is finished. So it's quite important to realize, that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is trying to point us here in the right direction. Walk away from the impersonal philosophy. Krishna has these features, yes, because he makes himself available to all. That's his mercy. If you're not ready as a spirit soul to receive him yet as Krishna, he may give you shelter in the Brahmajyoti in that lifetime, and he may bring you to him in another lifetime. We don't know. We shouldn't criticize. We should cooperate, but we should stick to our principles of devotional service in the most personal sense. And that's the most important thing here to remember. We shouldn't become like a covered atheist. It's very, very, very important. Why do we reject moksha? Any ideas? What does this process of moksha achieve for us? Liberation, what does it achieve for us? Or if you like, what does liberation put in the middle? And what does bhakti put in the middle? Adi-lila Prabhu, what do you think?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So, so moksha, it will end up all activities, the devotional activities. So, Brahma Bodha Prasanatma, it will take from negative to zero, and then further no more activities.
Exactly.
But it is a very good mother of enjoyment, further it beyond.
Yeah, exactly. Liberation centers on the self. Moksha centers on the self. It's liberation for me. Bhakti, on the other hand, as Prabhu has rightly just said, centers around Krishna. Krishna should be in the middle. Throughout all of his purports in the Sri Upanishad, Srila Prabhupada points us towards keeping Krishna at the center of all our activities. In fact, the Upanishad is centered all around devotional service. Liberation, right, asks, how do I stop suffering? Okay? Bhakti asks, how can I serve Krishna? These two things, they cannot coexist. How can I serve myself and how can I serve Krishna at the same time? Doesn't work. Automatically, by serving Krishna, your reward will come. Our rewards will come. We don't need to figure out, what will I get? We shouldn't even be thinking, what will I get? It should be pure, unmotivated devotional service. What can I do for my friend, my father? Krishna, what can I do for you? That should be the first question in the morning that pops up when we get out of bed in the morning, when we pay our obeisances, at our altar, to our Guru Maharaj, to our altar. What can I do for you today, Krishna? How can I be just a little bit better for you? Srila Prabhupada said in his lecture on Bhagavad Gita, I think it was 18.54, 18.55, 29th of August 1973, he said, Brahman realization is not sufficient. One must come to bhakti. In his purport on the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, verse 13, Prabhupada, very simple line, a devotee does not even accept liberation, he says. In the next verse, which is a very, very short verse, Prashabdena Mokshab bisandir api nirashtaha iti. We're only left with a very small commentary, or if you like, a very short verse. It's an annotation of Sridhar Swami's that Srila Prabhupada refers to. Sridhar Swami, of course, is one of the original Bhagavatam commentators who was accepted by Mahaprabhu, and widely accepted actually by most of actually all four Vaishnava Sampradayas respect the commentaries of Sridhar Swami. He confirms that moksha is intentionally excluded from pure dharma. That verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam that I quoted earlier, let me just pull it up actually, if I may. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, bear with me 1 second, something funny going on. Okay, this was the verse that I quoted earlier. Dharmaha projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapa trayonmulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Kriter kim va pare ishvaraha sadyo hrutyeya varudya tretu kritivi shushrushubistatchanat. The word that Srila Prabhupada was referring to in his translation there, projita, completely rejected. This verse basically says that completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, and moksha is a kind of material motivation because we want to get out of the materialness. And it's because we are thinking about how it's affecting this material body, not how it's affecting me as the spirit soul. That's the distinction. I am suffering, so I want liberation. That's what that means. So we want to reject that kind of thinking. So completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality, distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. The highest truth is reality, your bhakti. Yes? Distinguished from all the other activities for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity is sufficient in itself for God realization. And the other points there, attentively hearing and developing through that hearing a culture of knowledge of the Supreme Lord, which becomes then established within one's heart. It's a beautiful verse, and it reflects what Srila Prabhupada has been trying to teach us, in that very short purport that he gave us there on that verse 1.93. And Srila Prabhupada, in respect of that verse, 1.12 that we were just looking at from Bhagavatam, he gave a lecture in 1976 on the 5th of November in Vrindavan. And there's one very, very lovely line in that lecture. Even liberation is cheating if it does not awaken love of God. So for Sridhar Swami, the fatal flaw, if you like, of impersonalism, it's not metaphysical. It is non-devotion. Liberation without devotion, if you like, is a kind of way of becoming spiritually sterile. We understand what that word means, yes? Sterile. Why spiritually sterile? Because merging negates three things. Merging with the impersonal Brahman, or wanting that kind of union, if you like, with the impersonal Brahman, wipes out three very important parts of our life, or parts of our devotional life. In fact, parts of our life, in a way. What are those three things? We lose service, right? We lose seva, because we're not serving anybody but ourselves. We lose relationships, again, because we're just serving ourselves. And this whole world is made up on relationships. Close ones, far ones, symbiotic ones, where we live in a symbiotic circle with one another. Like these wars that are going on, what affects one will affect another. It's a symbiotic relationship, yes? So these things are going on. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in his comment, in his translation, in the verse, if you like, comments on the prefix pra in the word projita from SB 1.2, directs us to that completely rejecting part, completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. Because that kind of activity, that kind of religious activity which is materially motivated, is cheating. Because it depends on fruitive works. In other words, what am I going to get in return? What are the fruits of my work? And also focuses on a type of knowledge, a type of jnana, which is only seeking liberation, but it's not seeking service. It's the very heart of what we practice as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, isn't it? In these two verses, it basically tells us what we need to be looking for. So it's really, really, really important. Let's move on to the third verse very quickly, because I'm conscious also of time. Krishna Bhaktira Badaka Yata Shubha Shubha Karma Seha Ekajivera Ajnanatamo Dharma. All kinds of activities, both auspicious and inauspicious, that are detrimental to the discharge of transcendental loving service to Lord Krishna, are actions of the darkness of ignorance. Somebody like to have a go at reading the purport, if you don't mind?
Sure, Prabhuji.
Please.
The poetical comparison of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda to the sun and moon is very significant. The living entities are spiritual sparks, and their constitutional position is to render devotional service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, Supreme Lord in full Krishna consciousness. So-called pious activities and other ritualistic performance, pious and impious, as well as the desire to escape from the material existence, are all considered to be covering of these spiritual sparks. The living entities must get free from these superfluous coverings and full engage in Krishna consciousness. The purpose of the appearance of the Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda is to dispel the darkness of the soul before their appearance. All these superfluous activities of the living entities were covering Krishna consciousness, but after the appearance of these two brothers, people's hearts are becoming cleansed, and they are again becoming situated in the real position of Krishna consciousness.
Thank you very much,
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. In this purport, and it's quite interesting, because the purport mentions the darkness of ignorance. It doesn't mention Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda as the sun and the moon. Isn't it interesting? Because that comes in the next few verses, but Prabhupada talks about it before that. And he's trying to prepare us, trying to anticipate actually how we should be looking at the group of verses that come ahead, in a way. The poetical comparison of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda to the sun and the moon is very, very, very significant indeed. I want to pause on this passage for a couple of minutes, because if you like, this passage and its purport is the engine room of everything we've been discussing and everything we're going to finish up discussing. And it also explains the verses that follow, that come after this verse. So we don't have to do too much more on it, because it basically gives us that and what I'm going to try and do, I guess, is try and break down this purport line by line and try and explicitly tie it back to, how can I do this? I guess for me, it's talking about rejection of moksha and rejection of pious karma. It's talking about Sridhar Swami's position. I'm talking about the whole group of verses, by the way. The unique mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. And all the rest of the verses that we're going to be discussing today, kind of, I want to try and unpack it in that way if I can. So Prabhupada begins by talking about the sun and the moon. The poetical comparison of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda to the sun and the moon is very significant. It's a metaphor that matters. It's not a poetic exaggeration. It's actually a philosophical distinction. He gives, I guess we could break this down into three things. The first is an ordinary example that Prabhupada gives us of the sun and the moon. The light of the sun and the moon, they remove external darkness. They reveal external objects, like he says, gives examples, pots, plates, forms. They do not change the object. They only make it visible. Actually, that's what philosophy is really all about, isn't it? Actually getting to the very heart, to the very light of everything. And then understanding it in a different way. So that was our ordinary example, the sun and the moon, removing the external darkness, revealing all these external objects, but not changing the objects, making things visible. Yeah. And Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, as the inner reality, they remove our internal darkness, if you like, this ajnana tamaha. They reveal our identity. They reveal the soul. And through revealing the soul, revealing us as spirit soul, they restore our identity. They don't just give us information, but they restore our identity, which is why I referred to these verses at the beginning, like a programmatic set of verses. They're fine-tuning our way of thought, like a computer program. What I'm trying to say here, the key point I guess I'm trying to get to, is that knowledge can inform us, but only the mercy of Sri Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda, only their mercy can resituate us in our original Swarupa, who we actually are. And this is why we try and say, don't focus too much on the knowledge. Knowledge is good. Knowledge is powerful. Knowledge is information. But it shouldn't be just information. Don't focus on jnana. Don't focus on karma. Focus on what Chaitanya and Nityananda can do through the instructions that we're given in these scriptures, and going back to Bhavan Prabhu's point there, to seek a higher level of intelligence, to seek a higher taste. Another bit of this purport, Prabhupada says, the living entities are spiritual sparks, and their constitutional position is to render devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Going back to my question at the beginning, what do we need to do in this body, in this life, in any kind of life? We need to be active. And if we focus that activity on rendering devotional, unmotivated devotional service to the Supreme Lord, right, then that will align directly with what we learn in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivera Swarupahaya Krishnera Nityadasa. It kind of connects, doesn't it? We are spiritual sparks, and our position is to render devotional service to the Lord. What are the important, if you like, tweaks or nuances in these two statements that Prabhupada has made about Lord Nityananda being like the sun and the moon, and then the living entities of spiritual sparks? The important nuances, if you like. The spirit soul is already spiritual. The spark is already spiritual. The problem is not impurity of essence, because the essence is already there as part and parcel of Krishna. The problem is the covering of consciousness, which kind of matches, if you like, with what we talked about earlier. Bhakti is not created. Bhakti is uncovered. Why? How can I say that so confidently? Jivera Swarupahaya Krishnera Nityadasa. Our constitutional position, my constitutional position, is to love and serve the Lord in whatever way I can. Which means that bhakti or devotional service and love is already there, because I've come from Krishna. But it's covered. It's not created, it's already there. So it has to be uncovered through this process of learning and sangha. Prabhupada goes on to say, so-called pious activities and other ritualistic performances, pious or impious, why are these activities called coverings? See, normally, and I guess this is the thing that Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, sometimes the radical part of it shocks people. And you may think, shocks people? How? Well, it's easy, because they don't see it in the way that we do, bhakti. See, normally we think sin is bad and piety equals good. Doing pious activities is good. However, and this is where it gets shocking, because Bhagavad logic or Bhagavad commentators say anything that distracts us from bhakti is ignorance. Going back to your point, Prabhu, of trying to develop the higher taste. So why is anything that distracts us from bhakti ignorance? It's a question for you. Somebody like to come back at me. Why is anything that distracts our bhakti ignorance?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go on.
I think, the other things will have kind of a cycle. So apart from bhakti, so if anything that is slightly towards material, so even pious activity, to get the fruits of that, you come back again. You try and take them again. You do different activities, and that cycle continues. So there is no way that we can reach Golok, isn't it? So yeah, that's why it's considered anything apart from pure bhakti is rejected as per Prabhupada's words, as you mentioned. So
yeah, well, yeah, you're on the right lines. Anybody else got anything they want to add to that?
Just because of Maya, it is doing all these things.
Because of Maya? Maya doesn't, but Maya is not responsible for our desires, your desires, my desires. I'm responsible for those. Maya only facilitates what we want.
Is it false ego?
Say again? Please say that again, Mataji. I didn't catch that.
Sorry, Prabhuji. I said, is it false ego?
False ego is definitely there. Yeah, false ego is definitely there. Because what happens when we have our false ego and all the things that Bhavan Prabhu has just mentioned, it keeps us as the spirit soul self-centered. It keeps this idea going on in my head. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. And of course, Bhagavad Gita teaches us something completely different. We are not the doer, we are not the enjoyer. We simply feel that we are.
It's a kind of Maya, right? We are doing it. It's a kind of Maya which will generate those kind of things.
That is actually Maya, okay? That is the illusion part of it. But actually we are doing it. Maya is just there. She just happens to make all of that stronger for us. Right? I want to do this. I want to be the enjoyer. I want to be the doer. I want to be seen giving the class. I want to be seen, doing the program in the temple. I want to be seen in the Harinam. Why am I picking on devotees only? Because we're talking about devotees. We're not talking about those people who aren't devotees. And it's there within all of us somewhere, isn't it? And it links all of this discussion, I guess, to what we've been talking about in the earlier couple of verses. Karma binds with iron, if you like. Karma, yes. Piety or pious karma or pious activities, they bind us with gold. Think of these metaphors I'm trying to come up with here. Yeah, and jnana binds us with invisibility. Just developing knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and thinking we're going to merge into the impersonal Brahman is not really knowledge. It makes us invisible. And when we do lots of pious activities, thinking we are, oh so wonderful and so great, and our ego is such a wonderful thing, actually we're binding ourselves with a kind of gold, aren't we? We still can't take it with us when we leave this body. It gets left behind. All these coverings, they aren't solutions. They're just coverings. And Prabhupada goes on to tell us that as well as the desire to escape from material existence are all considered to be coverings. In verse 1.92 of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Moksha Vancha Kaitava Pradana. That first verse, Vancha Kaitava Pradana, that desire to achieve liberation by merging into the impersonal Brahman causes permanent disappearance of this loving service to Krishna. Yeah? Why is moksha a covering? It's a covering because it makes us believe we are not going to suffer anymore. So it might relieve us of our suffering, but it also removes our relationships. It dissolves the identity of servant and master. And by focusing on jnana, karma, and the impersonal Brahman, we get covered by our karmic activities. We become entangled by them. And then we get even more covered by all the knowledge, which then erases personality. Both these things, they obscure bhakti. And this is why in the second verse, we're pointed towards Sridhar Swami's comment, Prashabdhena moksha bisandir api nirashtaha. We're being pointed towards rejecting even an intention to become liberated in this way, right? Prabhupada directs us in that purport. The living entities must get free from these superfluous coverings. What does superfluous mean? Any idea what superfluous means? A little bit of an English lesson. What does superfluous mean? Since we're reading Prabhupada's purports, we should understand his words. Any idea?
Very high expectations which cannot be possible.
Well, it could mean that having very high expectations which are unachievable. It could mean that, yes. Essentially, it means not essential, not intrinsic. It's added on top of the real self. You know, like the cream that you put on top of the coffee. It's not really necessary. It's a bit superfluous. Makes it look nice. It might give it a little bit of a nice taste for a while, but it dissolves after a while. It doesn't do anything. Karma, jnana, and moksha are not part of us as the spirit soul. They are temporary overlays. They create impressions. Some of those impressions may be deep-seated, and some may not. But they can be superfluous. So liberation is not the nature of who I am. It's not the nature of who you are. Seva, on the other hand, is my nature, your nature, everybody's nature. Even the birds and the bees and the animals, see how they serve each other. Bhakti is not one path among many different types of paths. Bhakti is simply the soul functioning normally again. It's me functioning normally again. It's you functioning normally again. That's what bhakti is. And when we develop that bhakti, we can then realize the last part of Prabhupada's purport was the purpose of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda is to dispel the darkness of ignorance. Right, so once we realize that bhakti is me functioning normally again, we can then understand the purpose of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. They do not primarily reform society. They do not improve morality. They do not even teach philosophy first. Sounds controversial when you say that, doesn't it? They don't reform society. They don't improve morality. They don't even teach philosophy first, but they don't. What they do is Cheto Dharpanam Marjanam. To help us to clean that mirror of the heart. They restore our Krishna consciousness. And they give us nama, which acts directly on the soul. And that's why chanting is so central to our activities as Gaudiya Vaishnavas. It's not optional. It's not something that I will do if I get time. It's an activity that will bring us closer and closer to the heart of Bhakti, to the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to Lord Nityananda Prabhu, to the feet of Srimati Radharani, to the feet of Shri Krishna. And what they taught us and what they brought us, bhakti, love, chanting of the holy names, before their appearance and after their appearance. That's historical. It's not psychological. Or not just psychological, it's historical and psychological. Before they appeared, faith around the world was becoming religion equals karma, ritual, elevation, liberation. And God means the end, if you like, a means to the end. After they came, bhakti became the goal itself. God didn't become a means to an end. he became loved. And chanting became a direct experience. And this explains why Mahaprabhu rejects even refined spiritual goals. Why ISKCON follows a very uncompromising line of bhakti only. Look what we do in our temples and in our societies. We serve. And part of that service is bhakti, isn't it? Bhakti encompasses that service. And we can see how strongly Prabhupada felt against this Mayavadi impersonal philosophy, in what we've learned. If you pull it all together into one sentence, Chaitanya and Nityananda, they don't add something new to the soul. What they do is remove everything that was never meant to be there. Karma, jnana, moksha equals coverings. Let's remove those coverings. We need some knowledge. We need to find a way to serve. We know we have to go through our karma, but let's not make them the central part of who we are. Let's introduce bhakti and allow us as spirit souls, if you like, to breathe again. That's what these verses are trying to direct us to. Sin binds us. Piety distracts us. Liberation erases us. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu restores us. I mean, it's very beautiful, isn't it? The message that we find in these verses. Very, very beautiful indeed. And just to, I guess I'd like to just go back just and read those last few verses again. I have a few more bits just to round this off, if I may finish, if that's all right. Do I have time? 5 more minutes?
Yes, Prabhuji, you have 5 more minutes.
Yeah. So, Yanhara prasade tamohaya nasha, tamonosha kori kore tatvera prakasha. By the grace of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, this darkness of ignorance is removed, and the truth is brought to light. You see how that purport was so wonderfully and beautifully put? Yeah. Tattvavastu Krishna Krishna Bhakti Prema Rupa Nama Sankirtana Sabha Ananda Swarupa. The absolute truth is Sri Krishna, and loving devotion to Sri Krishna, exhibited in pure love, is achieved through congregational chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all bliss. On Christmas night, normally I would be at Westminster Cathedral with my collar on, and I'd be joining the clergy even now to celebrate Mass as part of an interfaith group. This year I didn't go because I wasn't very well. But what I did do, and it's interesting, we chanted 16 rounds of the Rosary online with some older people, older Catholic monks and priests who are my teachers, who asked me to join them. Yes, Catholics chant on beads. It's called the Holy Rosary. And one of the prayers begins, Pater Noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum. If you went to school in the western part of the world, you might have heard the prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Those words I spoke were the Latin. Pater Noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum. Our Father, you are in the heavenly planets, is the way we would describe it. Sanctificetur nomen tuum, and most holy is your name. When we chant on beads in the Catholic Church, we have a prayer. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus et benedictus fructus ventris tuis, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, grant us service to the Lord, and pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. That's what you chant on one bead. And it takes 2 hours when you've been around the beads 3 times. There are 54 beads on a rosary, so if you go around it twice, you've done 108. Isn't that interesting? So when Prabhupada described Jesus Christ as Shakti Aves Avatar, he did so in full knowledge of what he was saying. He wasn't just pampering to the whims of the Western world. He was a truly realized visionary, a truly realized spirit soul from the spiritual world, who tried to unite the peoples of this world together. As we say, he brought us all together in a house that we could all live in, recognizing that the chanting of the holy names of God happens in all sorts of different faiths, at all different times of the year, by all different types of people. We just happen to have the best of it. So we should be proud of that bit, but we shouldn't judge others for their beliefs. Because the more we judge, and the more we put our own prejudices and bias into the way we live and the way we look at other people of different faiths and what they do and what they eat and how they behave, keeps us bound here. Because that's not bhakti. That's not compassion. It's not mercy. That's me, myself, and I recognizing what I think I know. Instead, we should take Prabhupada's example. We should take Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's example. And he wrote many, many, many things, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Many, many, many things he wrote. I'm just going to see if I can pull up something quickly. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not come to destroy other religions, but to give the highest development of religion, pure love of Krishna. And you can find this in his Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Sajani Toshani. He also said, when he wrote an extract comparing other religions, those who worship God according to the instructions of Jesus or Muhammad should be respected as worshippers of the Lord. I'll let you think about what he means by that. But I think for myself, it's quite obvious what he wanted to do. I'm just going to move on now to the last 2 verses, and we can just finish off quickly. I've got led astray here a bit. Dui bhai hrudayera shali andhakara, dui bhagavatar sange karana sakshatkara. But these 2 brothers, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, dissipate the darkness of the inner core of the heart, and thus they help one meet the 2 kinds of Bhagavatas, persons or things in relationship with the personality of Godhead. Eka Bhagavata Vada Bhagavata Shastra, Ara Bhagavata Bhakta Bhakti Rasapatra. One of the Bhagavatas is the great scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other is the pure devotee absorbed in the mellows of loving devotion. The inner sun and moon, they remove the external darkness. Chaitanya and Nityananda removed the darkness of the heart. Education removes ignorance of real facts. Mercy removes ignorance of identity. Mahaprabhu does not merely teach, he purifies. And Prabhupada reminds us in Adi-lila 1.4 that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he cleans the heart. So what is the absolute truth? As we saw in 1.96, Krishna is the supreme truth. Bhakti is the soul's function. Prema is the ultimate goal. Nama Sankirtan is the means. And if you read that verse again, you'll notice that it does indeed dismantle impersonalism. It talks about truth as a person. Chanting is not a symbolic activity. It's a direct association. And Prabhupada reminds us in 17.21, when he gave that lecture on Adi-lila, there is no difference between Krishna and his name. And in this last verse, we just learned that there are two kinds of Bhagavatas. The Bhakta and the Shastra. The living devotee and the Srimad Bhagavatam. We can read and assimilate knowledge, but if we don't have Sangha or association to discuss that knowledge becomes dry speculation. And if we just have devotees and we don't have scripture, it becomes sentimentalism. Doesn't it? Real realization comes from these two forces, the Bhagavad Bhakta and the Srimad Bhagavatam Shastra, coming together. When they meet, there is realization. Prabhupada reminds us in a lecture, again, Los Angeles, 30th of September 1972, you must hear Bhagavatam from a Bhagavat. You must. Just to close then, what do we learn from these verses? And I'm sorry it's been a longer class than usual. Got carried away yesterday when I was preparing early. We should examine our motivation. Why are we doing this? We should understand we should re-examine our conception of liberation. We should look at how much we rely on mercy. What can we do better so we don't need the mercy in the first place? And also, what mercy do we actually need? Look at the quality of our association. Do I want relief or do I want relationship? Relief is self-interest. Relationship is when bhakti begins, or involves bhakti at the very least. So I will stop there. I hope that I have not confused everybody. I had to give another class on this for some of Brunel University students a while ago, and they're doing their masters in philosophy and theology. So some of them are writing about Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it was interesting that you asked me to do this. So I'm sorry if I got a little bit carried away.
No worries, Prabhuji. Really beautiful session.
Thank you.
Few lines like eye opener for me as well. So let's see if our devotees have any questions. I'll go alphabetical order. So if it's okay. So I'll begin with Debashis Prabhuji. Would you like to share anything or reflections or any questions to Prabhuji?
No, there's a fantastic. First of all, thank you, Prabhuji. Krishna Keshav Prabhu is very fantastic as always. It's opened so many things for me. I've learned so many things. I don't have any question as clear for me.
Thank you.
Gaurangi Mataji, would you like to share any experiences or reflections or questions for today? Yes, if Mataji is available. Neeraj Prabhuji, would you like to share anything?
Yeah, I mean, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It's a really nice session to learn about it. So, only I have a question for Kesav Prabhuji that,
Yes.
it's, apologize if my question is wrong. I'm just trying to understand it. What attract you for the Krishna consciousness and how your journey was, so we can also motivate ourselves and then how to learn about it. Yeah.
Okay, so, well, I was actually born into a Vaishnava family. First of all, into a Pushti Marg Vaishnava family. A very strict practicing mother, who unfortunately left us on the 7th of September this year. She left her body. Because of
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Yes, because of very serious cancer. But when we came to the UK, we didn't have very much. And there wasn't very much choice of school, because of the way things were back in the 70s, I guess. You were where you were, and that's where you went to school. I went to a Catholic school. And there I got interested in this guy called Jesus because I thought he was a bit cool. I could understand him, I could relate to him. I liked this forgiveness and compassion and mercy and service that he taught. So when you can see how that correlates with what we have in Krishna consciousness, it's not very much different, actually. He fed the people, he led them in different kinds of Sangha activities where he would sit and talk to them and preach to them and chant with them and pray with them and then feed them. It's not very much different to what we do now, is it, really?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's one part of it, I guess. Then when I was about 47, after having been in the Catholic Church for so many years, one of my cameramen came into... I was working for a film company as the finance and operations director at the time. And one of my cameramen came and he said, I need to go home. My dad's left his body. I didn't really know what he meant by that, but I kind of guessed. So I said, of course, yes, you do what you have to do. Will you be coming back to work? He said, it'll be some time. I might need a couple of months. Well, it was 6 weeks and he came back. It was a Wednesday afternoon. We were working quite near to Soho Temple, in a big old house there, in one of those, big old-fashioned houses, about 5 minutes away from the Soho Temple. We were filming there on site. And he came in and he was dressed in dhoti and kurta and tilak and he shaved his head and he had these great big neck beads. And I looked at him and I said, what happened? It's been 6 weeks. And he said, no, Prabhu, it's been a lifetime. He was 37 or 38 at the time. And I said, please explain. And he said, I grew up in a place called Vrindavan. I went to school in a Gurukul. He's an American white-bodied chap. My father was a disciple of a man called Srila Prabhupada, who brought the Hare Krishna's, explosion to the Western world. And I thought, oh, I know about you guys. Yes, I kind of thought so, but I wasn't sure. I said, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about your life. And we had a brief discussion. Then a few days later, he invited me to their home for dinner. And of course, there was all this thing going on there when we went there, because, of course, when you go into a Vaishnav's home, you take your shoes off. And we used to do that here, but I didn't expect to have to go into some Western person's home and take my shoes off. But I did. And it was at that point in time I realized, but because I could smell incense, I could smell sabji, roti, rice, dal. I couldn't smell meat, fish, eggs. I thought something different is happening here. I'd never been into a Western devotee's house before, ever. I'd never even met one, really. I used to run away from them when they tried to give me books on Oxford Street. No, go away, stop hassling me. I've got enough books, thank you. And Samuel, it was his name, Samuel James, he brought the bhoga out, as I now know it to be called, and he placed it in front of the altar. He put the curtains, drew the curtains around the altar. Then he began to use his Brahmin thread to say some prayers over the prasadam. And he was doing this, and I thought, what's he doing? And he had the thread wrapped around his finger. I've never seen that before. And then he said the 3 prasadam prayers that we learn. And then his kids came out and they washed their hands, and they were like 8 and 9 or 8 and 10 years old, and they sat down and they brought me a plate, and I thought, this is all very, and they were wearing tilak, and the little boy was wearing a dhoti, the little girl was wearing a little gopi dress type of thing, his wife was wearing a sari, everybody was dressed in tilak except for me. And I thought, wow, how is it that these guys are doing all this ritual and all this stuff, and I have no idea what's going on, and I'm an Indian-bodied man who grew up in a Krishna-conscious family, but didn't get it. So I went home all excited that night, and I spoke to my mum, and I was saying, Mum, I just had the most amazing day. Remember, I'm 47 years old, and I'm all excited like a 10-year-old now. And she said, why don't you go to your top bookshelf? Your grandfather left you a Bhagavad Gita as it is, written by this Srila Prabhupada in English. You might understand something. When he gave it to you, you weren't interested because you were about 14. Now you're in your 40s, you might want to read it. So I thought, I don't know. But anyway, I did. I liked what I read. That was the beginning. And then the next day, I watched a lot of Srila Prabhupada videos on YouTube, the following Prabhupada series. And I learned who he was. I learned what he'd brought to the West. And then I started going to the manor, and that's the beginning of my journey, I guess. And Prabhupada was right. Give them prasadam, make them dance. They will come and join. I came and joined. It's all it took. A little bit of prasadam and a little bit of kirtan and a little bit of dancing, and I was hooked. It was my new Friday night out. Then it became a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning. And that's what I did. I used to go every day to the manor. And I even moved in there for some time when I was 48. Then they sent me to India to do the sabbatical with all the boys. I was in my 40s. They were in their 20s. I was finding it difficult to discreetly run around the corner to the Costa Coffee from Chowpatty Temple and have a coffee, because I like a coffee every now and then, and I was finding it very, very awkward to go there and come back. But I did it. And eventually I learned how to wear the devotional clothing, and then they sent me to Mayapur, and I taught at Mayapur Institute for 7 years. And then I did some work for VIHE, Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education, and some work for the manor. And now I just work and I preach, basically. In my spare time, this is what I do. Go to kirtan programs, discuss these topics with different devotees. I go to hear, I go to speak, I go to sing, I go to join in, I go to cook, I go to clean. That's what it's become.
Really nice, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice to hear some about that. Yeah. So for us, for a new babies, for me, how I should approach and see in next. Meaning I joined last week. Meaning I was a Vaishnav, but that also, meaning I am 45 now. So I thought, okay, let's see and do some of this. So what you suggest me to learn and how it works? Meaning I started reading Bhagavad Gita. What else you suggest?
So this is what I did. I went right back. I have a list of Prabhupada's books, which he wanted us to read in a specific order. He actually made a list. I want these books read in this order. So I went back to the very beginning, about, I think after the second year of joining, because I'd read some Gita, I'd read some Bhagavatam, I've heard some lectures, and I was finding it difficult to piece it together properly in my head. I thought I understood it, but I didn't properly, and then I thought I didn't understand it, but I did. It was a bit like that, a bit upside down. So I went back to the beginning, and I got a list of Prabhupada's books, which starts with a book called On the Way to Krishna. It's the very first book he wanted us to read. So I read that book. That book for me, basically in one book, one very, very small, thin book, which you can read in a few hours, kind of made that penny which was whirring around at the top of my head fall into the box that was open here. Boom, clink, I felt it. Wow. Okay, I'm getting this. And then I went on to the next book and the next book. And it's true that in some of his books he repeats a lot of what he says, because he's trying to drill down on a point, and he understands that not everybody may read the same books in the same order. So the key points, he keeps dropping them in so you don't forget them. So don't be disheartened by that. It's very clever methodology that Prabhupada used to encourage us to read his books in a specific order. Yeah. So I would advise you do that to begin with. And also go to as many programs as you can, online and on site. If you can join in with devotees on site, do it. And
Okay.
I'm seeing that there are a couple of people who are needing to go, so I'm gonna stop, because I'm also conscious it's already 9:30 and it's getting late. But thank you for your question.
No worries.
Yeah, and
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Amol Prabhu will tell you if you need to reach out at all, feel free to reach out.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Sure.
a request. If you can put in the group the sequence of the books Prabhupada asked us to read.
I'm not actually in your group, I don't think, am I?
Okay, you can send it to me. I can post it in the group then.
Okay, who am I speaking to? Sorry. Okay, have I got your number, Prabhu?
Yeah, I do connect with you every day.
Oh, okay. So I will send it. I will send you on that group on that number. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Very beautiful question, Neeraj Prabhuji, and fantastic answer. That's gonna help many beginners or inspire people to come into Krishna consciousness. Yeah, we loved it, Prabhuji. Really good. And any of the devotees, any other questions? If not, we can move to nursing prayers. Ram Lala Prabhuji, if he's still here, is gonna lead. Yeah.
Any reflection from Ram Lala Prabhuji as well?
Yeah, Ram Lala Prabhuji, any reflections, please? Kusha Mataji.
Yeah. Actually, it's a wonderful lesson, wonderful class. Actually, Prabhuji explained nicely. Actually, this is what is the Koitava Dharma. We have to understand.
Yes.
So, I am repeating this one. Tare madhya mokshavancha Koitava pradhan Jaha hoite Krishna bhakti hoye antardhan. Actually, it's out of the Koitava Dharma. And we have to remember how we can bring back. I can say very shortly. Actually, we pray every day. Nashtamoha Sritir Labdha. Sorry. Nashta Prayash Abhadrashu. Two things. Two actually coming
That's
coincide.
all right. Yes.
Yeah. One is Arjuna is the last word. Nashtamoha Sritir Labdha. This is one word. And another one is Nashta Prayash Abhadrashu. This Abhadrashu. Sorry. Yeah, this is sorry, I have some problem.
That's all right.
Yeah, sorry, I have sometimes problem. Yeah, so it's Nashtamho Abhadrisho Nittam Bhagavata Shivaya.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji has got some today. Okay.
Okay.
Let
Anybody else?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Krishna Keshav Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
A very beautiful session. It is so wonderful, and we have learned so many points. So what we know the impersonalism, but going into different angles, it will kill the devotional service. One of the bullet points that we can click to our mind. 1 second. Okay, that is very beautiful point to click. And
thank you.
The statements, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also mentions the similar way Brahmananda Bhavidesha Chet Padartha Gunikritaha Neti Sukam Bhodehi Paramanutilam api. Again, there are so many things, so millions of statements are mentioned just condemning the impersonalism throughout. Chaitanya Charitamrita and also Bhagavatam as well. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
Fine to hear from you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so I shall then, if with your permission, I shall take your leave. Go and get some prasadam now.
Yeah.
Because I didn't eat before, because otherwise you get sleepy, you know, and you can't concentrate. So, so I'm going to have something light now. So with your permission, I will exit the session now. Vanchakalpatarupyascha kripa sindhubhyayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrindaki.
Big Haribol to Prabhuji.
Big Bari Hall, Big Haribol,
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 Haribol.
Haribol.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu, for wonderful.
Thank you
Hare
very much.
Krishna,
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shall move on to the next part, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Nursing the prayers and then
Yes.
we share.
Yeah, we want to the Riti.
Riti? Riti Mataji is going to lead us. All of us will follow.
You want to do with
All.
okay.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Ladlatayini. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Tilatanka nakhalani. To nasimho parato nasimho.
Ito Narsimho, Parato Narsimho.
Yato yato yamitato nasimho.
Yato yami tato Narsimho.
Ahi nasimho hridaye nasimho.
Bahir Narsimho Hridaya Narsimho.
Narasimha Madhim Saranam Prapade.
Namadim Charanam Prabhade.
Tavakara Kamala Varenakha Adbhuta Sringha Dalita Hiranakashipu Tanovingha Keshavajita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hari Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Avakara Kamaravarenakam Adbhuta Sringam Dhalita Hiranyakashipu
Tanuvingam
Hari Rupa Jai
Jagadish Hare.
Jai
Jagadish
Jagadish
Hare.
Keshavajita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Hari Rupa
Jai Jagadish Hare.
Jaya
Jagadish
Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare.
Jaya Nasimhadev Jaya, Nasimhadev Jaya, Nasimhadev Jaya, Nasimhadev.
Jaya Narasimhadev,
Narasimhadev
Jaya
Jaya,
Narasimhadev,
Narasimhadev
Jaya
Jaya,
Narasimhadev, Jaya
Jaya
Narasimhadev.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya, Prahlad Maharaj Jaya, Prahlad Maharaj Jaya, Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya
Jaya
Om Prahlad
Prahlad
Maharaj,
Maharaj,
Prahlad
Prahlad
Maharaj,
Maharaj,
Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad
Prahlad
Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada, Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Jaya
Prabhupada,
Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada.
Jai Gora Hari Bol,
People.
Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
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 Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
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 Hare
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 Rama,
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 Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Nishingadev Bhagavan ki
Ki
jai,
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 Raj
Jai,
Maharaj ki jai,
Jai.
Jai.
Gopal Rande,
Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Sri Radha Gokulanna ki
Jai.
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 Very beautifully sang Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Mataji. A big Hari Bol for beautifully singing Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol,
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol,
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Also, can we do 3 lot Haribols for Pawan Puji's first hosting the session on Saturday evening?
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Bol,
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol,
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you,
All
Pawan
Krishna's
Puji.
blessings.
So nice.
Welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice.
Yeah, if everyone is happy, so we can meet tomorrow 5:30 a.m. Japa session, and then followed by Ramayanan, isn't it, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. So we can conclude the session by Vancha Kalpatarupyasya Kripasindubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila
Jai,
Prabhupada ki
Hey,
Jai.
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 Hare Krishna.